Hola todos, bienvenidos. What language do they speak in Nicaragua? Mostly Spanish, but that's not all. I'll get to that in a second. But also, do you need to know Spanish if you travel to Nicaragua? The short answer is no, not necessarily. And there are a few things to consider depending on where you go and what you plan to do while you're there. Bye-bye. I'm back. It's getting very hot in here. She's oh so cute, but also oh so distracting, so no more cute little face in this video. In certain situations in Nicaragua, you can get by without speaking any Spanish and just speaking English, but it can make things difficult. My first time in Nicaragua, I was way too shy to speak any Spanish. I knew a little bit from school, but I did not practice it that first time. And the group that I was with didn't speak Spanish. Soy Darlene, a Spanglish speaking mama, and on this channel we speak Spanglish, anything Nicaragua, and life is a bicultural family. If you're interested in this type of content, consider subscribing and let's get into the video. So first, a little bit of info. English is taught in the schools, in the public schools at least for sure, and I believe most private schools as well, in Nicaragua. But that does not mean that everybody there is fluent in English. Imagine, like in the US, a lot of schools teach Spanish, but that doesn't mean we all come out fluent in Spanish either. With that said, hay mucha gente in Nicaragua that is learning English and who do speak English. Did that make any sense grammarly? I don't know. Grammatically? Maybe I don't speak fluid English. People in Nicaragua know that if they learn English, that gives them better work opportunities, which people need more opportunities for work there because the economy. Do I speak English? Do I? The economy is not great there. Over on the east coast of Nicaragua, like Bluefields and the Corn Islands, most of those people speak English, Creole English, and Spanish. And then also there is a very dwindling number of people who speak some indigenous languages, like Mosquito I think is the most common one or widespread, which is not that much anymore. And there are a couple others as well, but muy poca gente speak those indigenous language these days. So pretty much I'm guessing you fall into one of two categories if you're going to visit Nicaragua. If you speak English and do not speak Spanish at all, it is possible to get by in Nicaragua. You would mostly want to stay in very touristy areas and the bigger cities. So the super touristy cities are like León, Managua, San Juan del Sur, the Corn Islands. Esos lugares son full of tourists. And then most of the guided tours have English-speaking guides as well. So you could also use like private transportation. You call somebody and arrange for them to drive you around. That's basically like a tour person, I guess. La primera vez that I went to Nicaragua, we had a shuttle driver, I guess, lined up beforehand to pick us up from our hotel in Managua that we stayed in the first night and then drive to Aserradores. And he did speak English enough that we could communicate. Most local taxi drivers in the cities that you go to will be more Spanish speakers and not so much English speakers, except in the more touristy cities, like I said. It's more likely that you'd get into a taxi of a person that speaks some English. Pero una cosa that's not so great about going to Nicaragua speaking only English and not having any Spanish speaking partners or group with you is you would have to stay more in the touristy areas or places where more like expats from the US live. So you don't get nearly as much of experience of like the local actual day-to-day life of a Nicaraguan. I mean, yeah, some touristy areas, that's what their day-to-day life is, but it's a different side of Nicaragua, shall we say. Once when Tomas and I brought our friends to Nicaragua and they were there for the Spanish immersion, they're both learning Spanish, we went volcano boarding. We took a school bus from the tour guide location to the volcano. It was full of people, okay? And it was all English. We were not there for an English immersion. We were there for Spanish immersion. So there's that too. On the other hand, if you are very adventurous and don't speak much Spanish, or if you are learning Spanish and really want that immersion, this is what you should do. Use more local transportation that the locals actually use as well, like the taxis and the interlocal, triciclos, buses, rutas, things like that. You would also want to go and stay in a smaller town, which is what we did the first time we went to Nicaragua. And we were lucky enough as non-Spanish speakers that there were a couple of locals in that town that knew like a little bit of English. And then later on we ended up meeting a few surfers who were from the US and spoke English, so we were able to talk to them. Most likely if you go to a small coastal town where the surfing is great, you're going to come across Americans or people who speak English. In the research done before we took our first trip to Nicaragua, we thought that English was kind of the second language, like everybody spoke it. But we were a bit wrong on that front. Hicimos lo que queríamos because we went, stayed in a small town, we had a complete like Spanish immersion. Well, then again, I mean our group all spoke English, so we all spoke English all day. So maybe not really. But if you are going to Nicaragua thinking that you don't speak any Spanish and you're going to be perfectly fine with no discomfort, you are wrong. You are most likely going to come across people and situations where nobody understands you or nobody speaks English. But hey, I think it's always great to grow your comfort zone and do things that you have never done before. Hoy mi pregunta es, if you were to go to Nicaragua tomorrow, what side would you be on? The more adventurous, where you go in a small town and try to have more of a Spanish immersion, whether you know Spanish or not? Or would you stay on the safe side and speak more English, staying in the more touristy areas and bigger cities? Comment down below because I love connecting with you all in the comments. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hit that thumbs up if you did. I hope you learned something. Comment down below if you did. Gracias por ver. I'll see you next Saturday. Bye! Couple others. 2 categories that... Why is this fly? And we took a school bus. Hitting any of all... And hitting any of... I know you will want to know no... Say hello!
Bye-bye.